Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final game of the final day of the group stages from the FACEIT Challenger Invitational, sponsored by Alienware, Overwolf, and G2A. I'm Richard Cam. Alongside me is James Stress O'Leary, and we have H2K facing down Unicorns of Love.
We do indeed, and as you said, likely to be our last game, although there is a situation perhaps emerging. If
Indeed.
Unicorns of Love win this game, they are 3-0 in the group. If they lose, we have a three-way tie between NIP, H2K, and Unicorns of Love, and we are going into picks and bans.
So, what these guys prioritize? All right, Irelia is off the board, so is Gragas. Kind of nothing new there. We've seen that a lot in the games early in this tournament. In fact, pretty much everywhere as well. Irelia and Gragas are staple bans and have been sitting on the sidelines for a long time now.
Yes, indeed. And I kind of think we're going to see very similar bans to what we've had in the previous games. Zig's going to be banned out. Syndra probably is going to be another ban here from H2K, I would imagine, going up against Power of Evil. If you let that through, he's very likely to pick it. And to be honest, Syndra is pretty strong right now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Braum and Ziggs were the next two ban outs, and Ziggs, well, again, is another mid lane who's seen a lot of play. Snow himself has played a lot of that, and basically is part of a lot of mid laners, Arsenal's, in a lot of people's playbooks right now. Braum, we've seen a lot of Braum through this tournament and has been consistently strong. Hello. Maokai.
Hello.
So, Vizix actually played that earlier today and did very, very well, in fact, against Cowboy Chard. So, they're fearing that pick. So, it wasn't just a one-off, apparently.
No, apparently it wasn't a one-off, and they don't want Vardags getting Tristana either right now. It's interesting that they're prioritizing Tristana when it's somewhat of a situational pick, and we've seen other players, other teams like Ninjas in Pyjamas, and a lot of teams prioritizing Cogmore if they're going for an AD carry. So that is a pretty interesting start to this picks and bans phase.
Yeah, we not often see Tristana first picked. Usually is later on in the picking order. Usually prioritize something else. As you mentioned, the Cogmore has been very common as a first pick. Twisted Fate as well, we've seen that. But Morgana has been picked out. I'll be going to Halasang. Also very interesting because Halasang is amazing with Fresh. Fresh was open. Didn't choose to go with that. However, we did see recently in the LCS Morgana be played mid lane, so that may not be locked in.
Halasang has had 3 primary champions, really. I would rate Morgana as his strongest, just from recent performances that I've seen. Thresh is also exceptionally strong, and Leona typically is the third. So I honestly am not surprised to see the Morgana picked up there. Halasang has a tendency to land binding after binding after binding, and just works very well for Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 champions do very similar things in terms of you land the binding, you land the death sentence, or you land the Zenith Blade. So you can see why those 3 champions can do that. But hello, Caitlyn locked in as the next pickup from Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, again, long range is kind of the name of the game here from Unicorns of Love. He's going to do a good job of dominating the lane now. If this gets locked in, or at least for Bivens' pick, that's kind of his signature champion, I guess, if you want to call it that. Would not expect a Riven pickup here. I mean, we've seen Shook play Riven in the jungle. I think that's a Shook pick more than anything. Yeah. I really don't feel like we're going to see too much Riven out of anybody else.
Yeah, agreed. And, Lulu has been picked up. So has Nami for the bot lane. And we saw Will Failer go to town on that pick. He was doing so well, double bubbles for days, and really didn't even miss very many bubbles in that game. It was a very one-sided game, but the bubbles were one large part of why it was. Yeah,
agreed. I cannot agree with you more. Those bubbles were just again and again. I don't think we'll see Yorick either right now. While he's a strong laner, doesn't exactly fulfill any other role other than to give you the ghost of a carry. And to be honest, as good as Caitlyn is, she normally holds her own anyway. And to be it's not like bringing back a Tristana or a Cogmore. So maybe we will see it. It is going to get locked in. This will actually be the first Challenger Yorick that I've seen. Typically, we've only seen it in LCS.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We just haven't seen it in Challenger at all. LCS in EU is primarily where we've been seeing it. And Vardags will be picking up the Vi for the jungler of Dan, who is one of the new players for Unicorns of Love. So Vi as well will be kind of in the one of the kind of second tier of junglers, and hello Yasuo instantly picked up right now as well. So they have a lot of ways to get him rolling into his ultimate.
Yeah, and I'm looking for, well, I would prefer a Lee Sin here, but it would give them a better knock-up to get into the ultimate. But I guess they have enough with the Tidal Wave, the Wild Growth, and Tristana's Buster Shot as well. So there's synergy there. And I guess it just Trashy feels a lot safer on Elise here.
Yeah, well, we've seen Trash in all of those top champions anyway, but while they chose to go with the Elise, almost slightly differently, while the Cocoon is more instant pick, and then you go for the kill. So, last pick up from Unicorns of Love. What are they looking for? They have the Yorick, they have the Vi, so you would assume they have the top and mid, or the top and jungle locked in, and there you go. Last pickup will be Syndra. I'll be going to Power of Evil, and that's something we didn't talk about, but probably should have done. Power of Evil, Syndra.
I brought it up. I said they haven't. If they don't ban it, he will pick it.
Okay, well, that was just me forgetting you said that.
I said that.
Yeah, Power of Evil, hit Syndra. Well, we all know how good it is.
Yeah, it's just sublime. And to be honest, while, yes, there is the Wind Wall to block Scatter the Weak, it won't block the actual spawning of the orbs. Exactly, the Null Sphere. It won't block the Null Sphere. It will block the stun, but that is a very reactionary... Dark Sphere. Null Sphere is Kassadin.
Yeah.
I heard you said Sphere, and I was like,
that's gotta be right. The
Sphere.
orbs, right? I mean, yeah,
it's
that
all
makes
right.
sense in my head.
There's a load of abilities with Sonic in the name, isn't there? Pulse.
Yeah, all of that one champion, that being Lee Sin.
That's not even the whole ability, because it's a two-part ability.
Yeah.
So it's half an ability.
Yeah. What can I say?
Dear.
Anyway,
But so Yasuo will be able to block the stun. It's a very reactionary thing. We've seen Power of Evil, how quickly he can put down the Dark Sphere into Scatter the Weak is incredibly quick. It's a champion he knows inside and out. Oh, also, it will block his ultimate. So that is actually a very big part of the kit that to keep in mind. So it's all about the Wind Wall in that middle lane. So, the more I think about it, Yasuo is still going to do quite well.
Pretty good pick.
Yeah.
But it's all about that Scatter the Weak landing, because if he's stunned, then he can't win more, and then he'll just be blown up by Unleash Power. So, yeah. Indeed. So we'll see how that works out. Other lanes. We do have the Lulu. We have the Yorick as well. Yorick is something we haven't really seen in Challenger. We'll be going up against the Lulu, and she should be a solid enough laner to just kind of neutralize the lane.
I think it's one of those things is Yorick just does well against just about everybody in lane. And it's tough to even get a champion like Lulu through without getting harassed too much, without falling too far behind on CS. Yeah, she'll have shields. She'll have abilities like the Whimsy to make Yorick less effective if he goes in for a trade. But it is still a difficult matchup. The real potency comes, though, when you get to the mid-game. Lulu's going to be far more effective. Yorick really only has that effectiveness after the fact, when you're getting another member back for that little bit extra. And as we alluded to, Caitlyn's not exactly a hyper carry, so getting a Caitlyn back, yes, will have a lot of damage, but is not as impactful as, say, letting a Tristana come back, where you pretty much have to focus her down again. You cannot let her just stand there and attack. So it's one of those things, is like, it'll be helpful, but I feel like Lulu, if she doesn't get too far behind, will have more impact on the game.
It's also interesting that they decided to go with the Yorick when there's so many other top laners available, and when Yorick has actually had mixed success. It hasn't been like he's won all of his games and he's just absolutely amazing right now. He's been seen, he's done well, but he's also done badly. Yeah. So it's interesting. We'll see if it works for Unicorns of Love. They always seem to have at least one different pick in their composition. So maybe they were just like, we need to fill that quota. So
well, it's been the top lane. I mean, Maokai wasn't available. I wonder whether they would have picked that had it been available.
Probably.
It'd be interesting.
Very possible.
I'm
very interested in the Maokai pick. Like, I want to see if that spreads throughout.
For the next few days, I am just going to be watching Unicorns of Love to see if they do continuously play Maokai again and again. I'm a little bit not worried for H2K's bottom lane, but the early game is a very treacherous point for them. Caitlyn Morgana, if you land a binding in the early game, can be catastrophic, especially against a shorter range AD carry in the early game like Tristana. Ebb and Flow won't heal too much in the early game either, so it's not like you have a major amount of sustain. So that's a tough lane to be in because, again, Caitlyn has the extra auto attack range anyway, but one binding really turns the lane on its head, and it's down to H2K to kind of get Trashy into the lane. We saw him do that very well earlier against the Tristana. It's down to them to get into the lane, exploit Unicorns of Love, over-harassing, over-pushing in the lane, and get the kills onto Tristana, and then snowball the game.
So, fact of the day.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Normally, max rank Ebb and Flow will break rank 1 Morgana Shield by itself.
Max rank Ebb
Max
and
rank.
Flow.
Max rank.
There
The
you
more
have
you
it.
know.
But that then depends what kind of Nami player you are.
Also depends on the Morgana player. Does she put more points into Black Shield? Yeah.
Because Nami is one of those champions where arguments can be made for multiple different abilities to be maxed. I mean, yeah, sure, you can get more sustain out of Ebb and Flow and damage, but do you put more points in Tycaller's Blessing? Get that trading potential? You used to see that from time to time on Twitch.
Yep.
When Twitch Nami was a heavy lane. Do you put more points in Aqua Prison? It does already have a very long base duration at level 1, so it's not the most important thing, but some players I've seen do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But that is an interesting fact.
Yeah, I stole that from someone, and I can't remember who it was, and I want to credit them.
Wow. You scumbag.
Hey, at least I said it. I could have just been like,
So
I
somebody
found
out
that
there,
it was me.
somebody out there just
Shaking their fist.
yeah,
right
mad.
now.
You're going to get tweets. If you were the one that came up with that, or even if you weren't and just feel like tweeting Pulse and being mad that he just stole somebody's
Yeah.
fact of the day, at Impossible on Twitter. Give him hate.
Wow.
Mhm.
Unbelievable.
Mm.
You can also follow Stress at DignitasStress on Twitter.
Yeah, you can follow me.
Yeah, you can do that. Anyway, guys, we are into game with Unicorns of Love on the red team. It will be H2K down in the bottom side of the map this time round. And how will they perform? Unicorns of Love have been a team who have been like the team of upsets, you know? They managed to take down Cloud9 Eclipse back in the day. They've taken down Ninjas in Pyjamas very recently. And they're a team which haven't always been like right at the top of the power. You don't mean like Unicorns of Love. They're the best team in Europe right now in Challenger. But they consistently upset the best.
Yes, they do. And they're a team that have changed their lineup a few times, as you alluded to, but always seem to have this one thing that they bring out, one strategy or different lane ideology than a lot of other teams that really sets them apart. And a lot of it has been up in that top lane. I mean, if you think back to a long time ago, this time last year, and again, I'm going to butcher Visitatu's name. Apologies. He used to only play Renekton. Pretty much only, exclusively Renekton, but he's branched out in recent times, and even in earlier game today, we saw Maokai. We've seen a lot of other picks out of him, and it does set his lane opponent a little bit off their game. So can he do that again with a Yorick? Because, I mean, for those of you that saw the Super Hot Crew game in LCS, where they used the listen-in feature on Mima saying, "Oh God, not Yorick. I don't want to face
Anything
Yorick.
but
Anything
Yorick."
but Yorick," were his words. That is how every single top laner feels, unless you're playing Yorick, in which case you just laugh.
Yeah, it's like, lock in, and I'm going to have a fun laning phase. You'll not have fun. But yeah, it's just ghoul, ghoul, ghoul. Wheel Failure takes a lot of damage from that Piltover.
Yeah, it took the binding as well, and that's what we were kind of talking about. And these bindings out of Hylisang land so often that if they can keep landing them, they can really set this lane up.
And you will land the binding, then you just put a trap underneath them, then you get trapped, then they take a Piltover. And it's very, very punishing if you get hit by even one of those immobilizing abilities. So, Yarnan going to be a little bit more maneuverable, even if the binding's on route, he'll be able to jump away with Rocket Jump, and because of the funny interaction it has, even if you get hit, he'll probably still jump anyway. When Tristana wants to jump, she goes regardless of what you do.
Yes, indeed. Now, early on, Yorick doesn't exactly have the greatest mana pool. Ooh, nice Aqua Prison.
Yeah, and well, that's been happening in the games earlier today, and there's no reason why it would stop now. There's the ebb and flow. Alienware was very close to death. One more auto attack from either of those players would have been first blood for sure.
Yeah, and it's kind of characteristic of both of these supports here. You can see they've actually both picked up a mana potion for themselves, so they kind of have the feeling that it's going to be a trade-heavy lane, and they want to make sure they can throw out abilities time and time again.
Hello, Trashy. What are you looking for today? Looking for Power of Evil in the mid lane. Yasuo comes forward. We'll be getting the dash, this weakened blade. The Windwall comes up just in case the E came through. The Scatter the Weak from Power of Evil was blocked away at the very end. Dan came in just in case things got messy.
Yeah, Power of Evil, pretty confident early on in his stuns. As we said, Syndra is one of his absolute comfort champions, and I kind of was starting to talk about a little earlier how Visitati early in the game, his mana is a little bit tentative. On Yorick, it's one of the issues that until you go back, some players will pick up Tira, the goddess. On Yorick, it's kind of a common item to start building towards Mana Mune. Until you get that, you can't throw out ghouls too often, but you can see that the ones he's throwing out are already starting to do work on Odo Amne.
Yeah, and that will just continue to happen. The ghouls will never stop. The fun never ends in top lane. And Odoamne doesn't have very much help from Trashy either. It's not like you can just gank the Yorick either. So it's just a miserable state of affairs so far. Dan, meanwhile, will be spending the rest of his time elsewhere. Maybe looking for the gank on to Severvin and then lane. We'll get the stun. That's what we were fearing before. May even pick up the first blood right here. Power of Evil will be getting a last order strike and the ignite. First blood. So that's Syndra.
Really nice. They couldn't get the wall up in time, and it just meant that Power of Evil gets the kill there. However, bottom lane, Trashy is looking for his way in. No wards out already, so Unicorns of Love, if they get caught by an Aqua Prison here, this could be very problematic.
Indeed, but Trashy comes in from the side, lands, or doesn't land the Cocoon, lands the Volatile Spiderling. Means Wheelfair will not be able to get in range for his own Aqua Prison, and he will just walk away.
Yeah, but it's very even overall on the lanes. The only real separating factor is that initial kill and the CS that followed, because obviously having that respite in the lane gives Power of Evil the ability to farm, but there's a binding in bottom.
There's a binding, there's the trap, there's the Piltover, there's the auto attacks, and maybe enough to secure the kill. The exhaust comes out, is the ignite. It's going to be enough to take him down. One more tick. Oh, was not enough to secure the kill. Almost become the second kill of the game.
But that's how that lane is going to play out. As long as they've got everything available again and again. And if it hadn't have been for the heal and the exhaust on the side of H2K, that would have been a very dead Hyanan.
So, Valdex on her side able to play trap this positioning very hard, and Unicorns of Love are ahead in this very early game. It's kind of what we said. H2K maybe on paper the slightly stronger team. They've got more accolades into their belt for sure, but Unicorns of Love, they are experts taking down the champs. Odoamne in the top lane, just having fun with ghouls.
He is indeed. Normally it's a lonely old island up there on the top lane, but when you can spawn friends in that just want to hug the enemy, it's a very different environment.
Bringing people to the party.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, something to look at is Unicorns of Love won earlier. Ooh, there's a big amount of damage from Visitati. They won earlier without some of their comfort champions. Looking at the Power of Evil Syndra, now they've got a massive pick like that we saw Power of Evil. I don't want to say single-handedly carry, because he didn't carry single-handedly at DreamHack, but it was a massive effect for NIP having the Syndra in the game as opposed to not having it.
Yeah, it's much easier just to ban it out and say you just don't have to deal with it in-game than to allow that to go through. And H2K clearly felt more like blanket bans than actual specific targeted bans. They banned out the Maokai, of course, and that's probably where the Syndra ban would have come in. But they feared the Maokai more and therefore let the Syndra through. So they're going to have to deal with it. Unicorns of Love in the bottom lane. Hyanan is back into this one, both of them picking up the pickaxe. 52, making that 54 CS. And another binding lands on Hyanan. That means the trap will be landing as well. No, it won't. There's the rocket jump. Vardags will be getting Mules protects at least.
Didn't quite activate in time. Caitlyn was ever so slightly out of range. It is a little bit fiddly to get them landing on top of each other. But again, binding lands, damage significantly harms Hyanan in lane. And again, it just sets it up.
And if Evervent takes so much damage, was not able to block it out with the wind wall. The thing was not on the buzzer. And that is something that's very difficult to deal with in lane. Odoamne saying, Where did you go, Trashy? He was sitting in that bush and eventually just decided to recall. He actually headed that direction expecting him still to be there. It's like, oh, I think actually punishes him for it.
He does. And actually continually getting punished.
Helasai wants to land that binding. Oh! Yarnan was not expecting that one. Vardags gets the black shield in time as well. There's the trap. One more auto attack surely will be enough. Vardags wanted to go for the dive, but Yarnan is all the way back to the second tower already. He is not having a good laning phase.
Those mind games. I'm sorry.
That was so good.
That is the difference between a player that is comfortable on a champion and can mind game the opponents and somebody that's just playing it because it's in meta. To auto attack, to change the focus, and then bind somebody in a completely different direction. That is really good mind games out of Hylasang.
I'm going to bind you. I'm going to bind you. Oh, no. Hylasang is stuck in place and very nearly dead, but at least they pushed him out of lane, and Unicorns of Love will capitalize on this, take a very easy dragon, not even warded, so they won't get the direct, or the exact time, rather, for H2K. And Unicorns of Love picking up small advantages in lane in terms of CS, pick up the first dragon of the game, pick up the first blood. And it's not game-ending, but it's a nice edge to have.
The one thing Unicorns of Love have to be a little bit careful of, that's the first trade going the opposite way. But you look at the mana differences, and that would be why. That's the thing with Chalice as opposed to Tyr is going to give you more mana later in the game. Chalice, however, is pretty much more consistent throughout. It's going to let you regen it all. Ooh, Wizenchachi has to be careful here because Trashy's top.
He is. The two flashes coming through. There's the repel away. Otherwamne was not in the best of conditions to go for the dive. He had the wild growth just in case, but Wizenchachi clearly feeling very comfortable in the top lane that he can just go for the tier and doesn't need the immediate mana. Hylasang, good E, good black shield, will block up some of that damage. Explosive shot from Hyanan. And as of the first little bits of action, a little bit of tidbits of action, we haven't seen all that much. It's just been Unicorns of Love edging ahead in lane.
Yeah, and that's somewhat to be expected, because when you look at the composition from H2K, Tristana is going to benefit a lot more from a later game. Caitlyn, while she does, hold her own very well through the mid-game, Tristana will outrange and outdamage her the later the game goes on. So that's really where H2K are looking to take this game, especially with kind of the redundancies of Yorick in the later game. It's one of those things that H2K, as long as they don't get too far behind, should still be okay. But looking at the goal difference right now, I think they're right on that tipping point. That if Unicorns of Love get too much more, it could be that slippery slope here for those late game teams that just never get there.
And will they get there with the Oh, in the top lane though, Wizenchachi has been called out by Tragedy. Will be able to take him down now. Wizenchachi is back with a vengeance. We'll get the E-Ghoul, or rather the W-Ghoul, looking for the E-Ghoul, and that will be enough to take down Trashy. I don't think it'll be getting in range. Nope, we'll be dying before that happens. So, 1-for-0. That's a nice little advantage back to H2K to try and stabilize the goal totals, but how are their items looking so far? So, in fact, Trashy is up towards a tankier build, looking towards the Ancient Golem here with the Quilco.
Yeah, looking for that Quilco, which we haven't really seen too much. We've seen a lot of the Spectral Raid builds out of Elise. It means you're slightly less tanky than you would if you were building this route. So interesting to see them say, hey, we need a little bit more resistance just to get us through this game, just to hold us in here. And then we can let Tristana reign supreme in the late game. But I want to take a quick second to acknowledge the disparity in middle lane. 116 CS to 69 CS. And take note that, yes, Yasuo's shield was changed, but he gets a shield in lane. He's a resourceless champion, and typically has, when picked, done very well. But not only is Syndra a good champion in the hands of Power of Evil, but it seems to be dominating against the Yasuo right now.
That's not very good. It's not what you want at all. Mid lane not winning out. Top lane is now a little bit more even, and probably is even with that top lane picking up that kill from Otherwamne. And in the bot lane, Vardags is firmly ahead in lane. And Power of Evil, he's looking to push at advantage, pick up the Deathfire Grass as well.
Either my brain lagged or the Caitlyn bug is back.
I didn't catch it myself.
You know the one where her auto attacks proc before
Yeah.
the animation completes. I'm pretty sure I just saw it, but I may be wrong.
Possible.
Again, it might be my brain. I'll watch the VOD.
Okay, Dan. We caught out with the one. They will be flashing away from the Scat of the Week. Visixachi with the slowing ghoul. Will be pushing him away, trying to get that Omen of Famine now onto Odawamne. A whirlwind over the wall, and I'll be taking that with me. Say the power of evil. See ya.
Well, that's one way of making
It
sure
was
you
like,
get it.
who's going to secure this? Who has enough damage? We will fail her. We'll be dropping in the bot lane. Surely Hitler sign will be keeping him in place. Vardog's flash forwards with the auto attack. And Yana may be able to go 1 versus 2. Will be stunned up or at a rooted in place. Vardog kites him back into the bush and finishes him off for the double kill.
Is this the passage of play that I was talking about? That tipping point that now Vardax has picked up 2 kills. It will let him pretty much, yes, he'll definitely finish that Infinity Edge when he goes back, plus be well on the way to his second item. It's going to be another tower going down in favor of Unicorns of Love as well. So they are really wanting this group to finish 3-0 in their favor, which, to be honest, nobody would have expected.
Yeah, especially with some of the names in this tournament. Gamers 2, NIP, even H2K, who are playing right now. He was like, any of those would be contenders to go 3-0 in their groups. Unicorns of Love, again, showing they are getting stronger and stronger as a team. And these new roster changes just showing us even stronger than ever.
Well, that's the thing, is this was arguably the more stacked group. You had the 2 former Challenger finalists in LCS Wembley. They had H2K and NIP, and they've taken down 1 and then looking to add the second scalp to their belt here, but they still have to close it out. It is not a done game, but 6,000 gold is the lead, and it reflects in the items. You can see Deathfire Grasp onto Syndra has been completed, Infinity Edge and boots towards those Berserker's Greaves on Caitlyn as well. So they are in a really good position right now to start sieging down towers, because that's another thing they do have in their advantage, is Caitlyn, that longer range.
And it's important to note that H2K, it's not game over. They are not out of the game just yet, but that is another Dragon going to him, because it's actually maybe dropping in the top lane, will be flashing away, does not have the extra mana. Needs 1 more auto attack. Neurotoxin will be enough. Takes him down. The only, well, 2 deaths on him there, but the Dragon in return, another tower mid lane that unleashed power on towards. He will fail, will not be taking him down. Everyone takes this Scatter the Weak, will be stunned in place and dodging out of the Dark Bindings, which has been hitting a lot in the bot lane. But 3-2 so far, Unicorns of Love leading in kills, but more importantly in terms of objectives, in terms of towers, and in terms of gold.
Power of Evil didn't DFG and didn't ignite, so I feel like if he'd have used both, he would have actually got that kill.
Yeah, it's half-hearted.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ult you, see what happens.
I'm gonna flash ult you, but I think I have the damage without my DFG because you're only a support.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I don't.
Testing the waters. That's important
Yeah.
information to have, because next time he will ignite, and next time he will pick up the kill.
The problem is he's used flash, and Syndra, one of her drawbacks is how, I don't want to say immobile she is, but how easy she is to capitalize on if she misses a stun. If you miss the stun on Syndra, you're pretty much dead. You've only got the slow that's going to come from the W, but they've got the position to get in front of the tower. Ooh, nice double bubble.
Yep, again onto Power of Evil and Vardags. 2 of the members you would really want to take down in a hurry. H2K weren't really in range to capitalize on that, however. Feathervin only now just coming into the mid lane, has completed the static shift, probably looking towards an Infinity Edge. That's kind of the core for Feathervin, or for Yashos in general. Have also seen some Blades of Ruin Kings as well in the item build path.
Yes, have seen a couple. Not this time,
No.
for whatever reason.
Morellonomicon from Power of Evil will be going alongside his Deathfire Grasp. And not something you see every time on Syndra. Top lane, finally the Manamune has been picked up by Visixachi, also adding a Spectre's Cowl to that as well.
I feel like it's having about the same success rate as it's had in LCS. It gets an advantage in lane. It draws the jungler up to get the kills. Hasn't really been all that effective as, you know, a dominating, getting kill after kill after kill snowball type of lane. So I feel like we're just seeing the same thing. And Unicorns of Love, to be honest, that's not enough, but that's a lot of damage.
It is, and Power of Evil maybe called out, or maybe just going to detonate Odo Omne. Will be knocking him back with the Buster Shot. Odo Omne is ticking down with the Ignite. Will not be dropping just yet, but Power of Evil and Odo Omne both escape with their lives.
Again, though, the combination out of Power of Evil wasn't enough. That time he used everything.
Yes.
Did need it, but it was the Lulu ultimate that saved Lulu's life, as you'd expect. I mean, to be honest, I don't think Power of Evil was expecting that kill. They just wanted to say, hey, look, here's our damage, we're going to show you that, and force you back so we can pick off that low health terror.
And Ignite, fun fact, will not reduce the amount of extra HP that Wild Growth gives. Because it's not a heal, it's an increase in maximum HP. So, detonating that target is slightly harder. Well, detonating any target that Odo Omne puts his ultimate on is a little bit harder.
Who did you take that fact from?
That was mine.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Trademarked. So it's trademarked. Yeah, and what is trademarked and taken and sealed is the top turret for Unicorns of Love. 5 turrets to 1. And 20 minutes into the game is pretty good going.
It is. It is exceptionally good going, especially when you consider that going into this, and I probably sound like a broken record, Unicorns of Love are probably not expected to make it out of this group. That doesn't mean that they won't actually.
Hello.
Oh, Power of Evil. Okay.
I don't really think we had time to commentate through that one.
I heard the ping, and when I hear the ping, I look for who's low on health and not dead, and it was right after the ping that Tristana died, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, Power of Evil kills people very quick. It's kind of the LeBlanc thing where it's just like, oh, he's flashing up, now he's dead.
Yeah.
He's low on HP and now he's on
Another
0.
way of saying that is my map awareness isn't amazing, and neither is Odo Omne's.
Nope, because the Dark Binding comes through. There's the Soul Shackles. There's the Assault and Battery. Adding salt to the wound. I'm not even sure that was necessary, but, well, he's quite dead.
Yeah.
You killed him.
Unicorns of Love are just kind of picking up more and more advantages from here. It's kind of a constrictor that's going on right now. They're very slowly edging ahead onto that 6k gold lead that they previously had. It's not really been an explosive spike in their gold, but a couple of towers here and there will really start to open that up. I thought Weevil Palo was about to ult then.
Yeah, he's kind of just flopping around at the moment. 2 and 5. Actually, not that many kills this game, but a lot of objectives. It's been a very objective-based game. And there is the ultimate. There's the Unleashed Power. Will follow you where, no matter where you go. You can jump away, you can flash away, but those orbs will find you.
They will, unless you put Wind Wall up.
Unless you put Wind Wall up and Unbreakable from Brawl, and then they kind of stop in their tracks. Didn't have that too available.
This is why you ban Power of Evil Syndra.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the be-all, end-all.
I think they've got the memo now, but it's 20 minutes too late.
Yeah, because even though we were saying Tristana will do a better job than Caitlyn, and maybe Yorick is not going to have the most impact, Syndra will, for the entirety of the game now. There's, until you have insane magic resist, at which point Yorick and Caitlyn will start to demolish you, it is very difficult not to get bursted down, because Syndra's ult cooldown is so low that you can just pick and choose targets every single time.
And it's not going to get any better in that department. So we look at H2K, and how did he come back into this game? They are edging, they're on the horizon of being 10,000 gold behind. They have a little bit of gold in their back pockets, as you can see in the bot lane, and 2,000 will be going to Power of Evil. So he has gold to spend as well. And
that was probably my next point was going to be, and Power of Evil's items aren't even the massive AP items. Sure, he's got a DFG. It's going to amplify his damage. But if he picks up something like a Rabadon's Deathcap next, or at least another needlessly large rod item, that is so much more damage. When you take into account the added AP, the added... Oh,
goodbye.
Dead.
Dead. He's dead, Jim.
And they see Yasuo in the bottom lane. Yasuo will not push faster than this, so now is the decision time for Unicorns of Love. If they push mid, they don't have a minion wave yet, but they will do more damage, and Yorick has already gone back.
He is, and now Featherven gets to enjoy Yorick in the bottom lane. As the ghouls are coming down. he did manage to aggro the ghouls, who was able to get over the wall if he wanted to, and now may be able to return with the damage onto Versace. Not losing the trade in this one. Slowly, the Steel Tempest just managed to get the knock-up with the third Steel Tempest Whirlwind, but meanwhile, the rest of the team quite happy on the Baron. There's the last breath onto Versace. He did not do as much as Featherston really wanted to, and they are completely in the dark when it comes onto this Baron, and that'll be going very easily to Unicorns of Love.
It will, and Versace is just going to be happy to be like, oh, okay, you ulted me under my turret, that's fine. I'll just spawn a couple of ghouls, heal myself up, and stop you pushing. Honestly, I don't know what Forbidden can do right here, and I don't know what H2K can do. They need more time for Tristana to be effective. Yes, she's got an Infinity Edge, but there's a static Shiv on the side of Caitlyn over that Infinity Edge, and they're getting small. Okay, this is what H2K are going to do. Okay, that makes some sense.
Ooh, Cocoon, right.
Look at this warding. They've got one on Wolves, one in this bush, one here.
We'll know if they're coming into our death bush that they're not going to walk into, guys. Don't worry.
Oh, man. That's... that tells you the story of the game.
Yeah. Right in that single play. H2K, they're struggling for ideas. You know? When you start trying to find death bushes, it's kind of the same thing as going for a desperation Baron. It's like, well, we need to do something. And if you can't capitalize on the pick from the death bush, all of 5 members walk into it from Unicorns of Love, you just straight up lose. It's a risky play, and it's one that just didn't even do anything. So H2K have to sit down and wait for Unicorns of Love to make the next move. The ball is firmly in Unicorns of Love's court.
And to reiterate a point, if H2K do not win this game, they are out. Because they weren't able to field their roster against Ninjas in Pyjamas on the first couple of days of play. On day 1, in fact. And that gave NIP the win. So NIP is sat at 2-1, and in the event of a 2-1 tie between 2 teams, it goes to the head-to-head, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
So, if Unicorns of Love can top this group, that is a massive morale boost going into an incredibly important time of the year. Because we're getting into deciding who is going to be the next set of LCS teams, and Unicorns of Love are on good form right now.
They could definitely make it. After these performances, they've shown that they can take down arguably the best in Europe.
Although saying that, I can't remember where they are in the standings. I know they were almost in a tie in Challenger at around the 5th, 6th place. So
yeah.
I think obviously they'll have to go through like the finals, like that.
Yeah,
playoff.
they'll have to go through playoffs.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if they are facing these teams that they're taking games off, that is a good sign for Unicorns of Love.
Definitely is. The stars are aligning for Unicorns of Love. There's a Tyler Wave and it's a Black Shield. And Duame, goodbye, will be taken down today. The rest of the balls will be scattered over the battlefield, but with that one death, they will just force their way into the base of H2K. They'll be taking the middle turret, following up with the middle inhibitor, and they have just pried their way through the base, and will just look to do the same in top lane.
It's a low-kill game here, but Unicorns of Love have been playing the objective game, and that really is the only game they've needed to play. They've got the stuns and forced H2K back away from pretty important locations on the map, and every time they've got objectives, Dan's going in.
Oh, the flash into the Vault Breaker, the Assault and Battery as well. Feathervin will be caught out, so will Trashy, but it's just all area denial and zoning from Unicorns as they just take down the second inhibitor of the game, and it looks like curtains. It looks like they are going to be dead and buried. Physicsatchi will be leading the charge into the bottom lane. Trashy may be caught out. In fact, that's just the surrender vote. They just didn't even want to sit through the next couple of minutes. So, Unicorns of Love, they go 3-0 in their group.
I am somewhat stunned by that. Not in a bad way, in a pleasant. Unicorns of Love somehow managed to pull out results in FACEIT tournament stunned ways. They took down Cloud9 Eclipse in the first one. They did the same in the second one, and now have topped their group. The group of death, no less, with NIP, H2K, and Alternate in. Unicorns of Love go 3-0.
Yep. It was unexpected, but they are the team of upsets. Unicorns of upsets.
I think Unicorns of Love is a better name.
Yeah, it's a really good name.
It's a deceptive name, though, because they're not bringing love.
They're cute and cuddly, and they'll just kill you.
Yeah, they're bringing destruction in the way of Power of Evil Syndra. seriously, Challenger teams, you've seen Power of Evil enough. Ban Syndra against Power of Evil.
Yeah.
Every game. I'm sorry.
It's true, man. Like, we saw this in DreamHack, and it was like the first couple games, people let it through. Oh, he's gone legendary, and he's carried the game. We'll ban it out from here on out, and that did actually happen in DreamHack.
Yeah.
But with these group stages, and because of the the swap-ups as well, maybe H2K just didn't do the necessary research on Power of Evil and was like, oh, we'll just ban out the standard champions. We saw them earlier today. They did really well on the Maokai. We'll make sure we don't have that oddball factor. And then forgot the one that was staring them in the face.
It's like, I'm sorry, if you wanted to ban 3 other champions, you only get 2 bans against Power of Evil.
Yeah. Whatever's their
yeah, it's like Lee Sin and Ku, how you pretty much should ban it against him every game. It's just like that. Just end of story. Until Power of Evil has a bad Syndra game, that is how I think everybody is going to react.
Mm-hmm.
And it's punished H2K.
It has, yeah. And 3-0, it's punished everyone that we've gone up against so far in the FACEIT Challenger Invitational. And that draws a close to the group stages. We will be back for the playoffs on Sunday. And that will be them in top seed.
It will. And I kind of want to make one last point, because in casts, I've not ragged on Dan from time to time, but he's always been very aggressive. And I actually think in today's games, he actually did a really good job at controlling the pace of the game from the jungle. So it was certainly not just Power of Evil. The entirety of Unicorns of Love played very well in both games. But yeah, that is them 3-0 in the top of the group.
It's crazy. We've said it like a million times.
Yeah,
we'll keep
saying
harping
it
on about it because it's incredible, But yeah, thank you for tuning in. We will be going out from here.
Yeah, although I feel like we should also mention who qualified from the other group. Gamers 2 and Reason Gaming have also advanced. So the 4 teams advancing will be Gamers 2, Reason Gaming, Ninjas in Pyjamas, and Unicorns of Love. Yeah.
There you go. There is your playoff bracket. We'll see where they all place down, and then you'll be seeing all of that on best of 3 format on Sunday. So we'll have the semi-finals followed by the finals. And it should be a good day. We'll be starting slightly earlier that day. I'm not sure if we have the times locked down just yet, but we'll obviously keep you up to date on social media.
Yeah, I believe it's roughly around 12 CEST. So it's
Take that
a lot of us. It's a much slighter earlier start.
Yeah,
about 7 hours.
About 7 hours.
It's okay. It's
almost
only
the time
a little
difference between Europe and America, but
yeah,
slightly earlier.
Yes,
but,
indeed.
Yeah, so social media. Make sure to follow FACEIT. Of course, on the stream itself, on Twitch, in the bottom left-hand corner, you can find the follow button. So if you do want to catch the finals and see how Unicorns of Love do in the playoff bracket, then make sure you stay up to date with that one. Of course, you can follow FACEIT on Facebook, Twitter. On Facebook, it will be FACEIT Community, so facebook.com/FACEIT Community, followed by, obviously, Twitter will be just at FACEIT, which is easy enough. And you can do the same on YouTube, which will be FACEIT.com.
Yeah, indeed. Now, where can people find you if they enjoyed your casts or want to tell you how to pronounce other names?
Or tell me I stole your fact from you. You can
it wasn't.
Find me
on
Twitter. Yeah, that wasn't you. It was me.
I was gonna say
Don't
it
worry
wasn't
about
my fact.
But you can follow me on Twitter at Impulsible. And where can they follow you, Stress?
At DignitasStress. As always, feedback on player pronunciation and Maokai Top is always
we'll take
always
valued.
You have. Indeed, but I think. Yeah, once you've... Oh, the last very important thing to do, more important, or as important at least, as social media, is head to FACEIT.com. Get yourself signed up for the FACEIT platform. And you can play League of Legends. I believe it's Quake and CSGO as well, against players of the same skill level. That's a really, really important thing, is you'll be playing people at the same skill level, play through the leagues and ladders, and if you place towards the top of your league and ladder, you will get some pretty awesome points and your prizes, and you'll accrue points through playing to get prizes as well. So awesome stuff there.
Nothing to lose. There's no reason not to, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I believe that is us done for today.
It is. So, hope you've enjoyed the cast, guys, and we will see you on Sunday. We'll see you on Sunday.